and it's going to start recording. Hi, everyone, and welcome. We're going to start in a couple seconds, but I do want to just allow some extra folks to come on in. All right, I kind of feel like we've stabilized. Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Randy Stam. I'm a school counselor at Hackensack High School in Hackensack, New Jersey. And I am thrilled to welcome you to the NJACAC, the New Jersey Association for College Admissions Counseling, our virtual college exploration program. So we are thrilled that you are here, and we hope that you've been able to take advantage of a lot of the great workshops that have been offered over the past 2 weeks. Tonight, we're going to hear from an amazing speaker. I think you're in for a real treat. I'm going to try to put some extra pressure on her for that to perform. But you're going to be hearing all about Purdue University. So just some housekeeping. This is going to be in a webinar form, so that means that your chat has been disabled and your cameras are disabled. So if you have any questions, which we absolutely encourage you to ask, please use the Q&A function, which is at the bottom of your screen. And then also I'll give this reminder at the end of the session as well, but we have one more day of sessions of colleges, so you can sign up for those on the website that is listed there, njacac.org/virtual fair. And just so that you know, all of the sessions have been recorded and they will be made available on that same website. All right, so without any further ado, I'm going to turn this over to our esteemed colleague who is going to take us through everything we need to know about Purdue University.
Awesome, thank you, Randy. No pressure, but good evening.
None at all.
My name is Sarah Zoll. I am one of the admissions counselors with Purdue University. I'm actually regionally based, so for those of you joining us from New Jersey, I am right here alongside with you, enjoying all of the beautiful fall weather that we have had this week. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a PowerPoint to share with you this evening. I'll probably spend about 30 minutes or so going through the PowerPoint. It's just me with you tonight, so when I'm presenting, I can't see that Q&A. Feel free, certainly, as I'm going through the presentation, to type any questions that you might have for me, and I'll make sure to spend time at the end going over all of those questions. So for those of you who might need a reminder about where Purdue is located, we are in West Lafayette, Indiana. This is our enrollment as of last year, pretty similar though to this year. So we have about 35,000 undergraduate students on campus with us and another 10,000 graduate students. You can see that about 50% of our students are Indiana residents, and then about 50% of our students are coming from all 50 states and about 130 countries. Purdue's a big school, but in a lot of ways we operate like a much smaller school. So our average class size is just about 31. And our student to faculty ratio is about 13. If you can see, because I know some of these numbers are small, this is where our students are coming from the US. We had last year about 600 students from New Jersey with us on campus, a little bit bigger this year. So lots of students coming from the East Coast to study at Purdue. And if you were to kind of flip this map and it were to show you where all of our alumni are, the greater New York metro area, those couple alumni clubs, so the New Jersey Alumni Club, the New York City Alumni Club, and then the Connecticut Alumni Club, represents the third largest population of Purdue alumni anywhere outside of the state of Indiana. So obviously Indiana has a huge population of Purdue alums, and then the Chicagoland area, Northern California, but then we have thousands of alumni living in the greater New York area, which is great for you all as you start thinking about ways to connect with alums for internships, for job opportunities, shadowing. Under normal circumstances, the Alumni Club does a great job with hosting watch parties for football games and basketball games and things like that. So even though we are in the Midwest, we really do have a global reach, and it's easy for you to start making some of those connections a little bit closer to home. If you need, again, another kind of visual reminder of where we are in the center, Midwest there. If you were to drive to Purdue from New Jersey, I wouldn't recommend it. Probably about 10 or 12 hours, depending on where you're coming from. Pretty boring most of the time. A much easier 90-minute flight. When I go to campus, I'll fly from Newark right into Indianapolis. It's about a 90-minute flight, and then we're an hour northwest of Indy. We are located in West Lafayette, which will be at the top of the picture. And then Lafayette is kind of the sister city to West Lafayette at the bottom of your picture. West Lafayette really is that kind of quintessential college town. Lafayette's going to be a little bit more suburban, a little bit more sprawl. That's where the shopping mall is. It's where a lot more of the hotels are, some of the shopping and things like that. But that bridge there in the middle of the picture is a pedestrian bridge, so it's walkable. You can walk from campus into West Lafayette, into Lafayette anytime. So it's a really neat place to be. Campus itself is pretty big. Corner to corner, probably about a 20-minute walk anywhere you need to go. But it was also designed really intentionally. So there are different academic pockets all over campus. So for those of you who are interested in engineering, all of those buildings are on one side of campus. Our Krannert School of Management, our business school, has another corner of campus, and so on. So you're not necessarily going to be walking all over campus all of the time unless you want to, but it is a really walkable campus. A lot of students will bring bikes, rollerblades, roller skates, skateboards, things like that. And West Lafayette, like I said, really is that college town. That picture at the top is the pedestrian bridge, like I was talking about, that connects West Lafayette to Lafayette. We have a great outdoor ice skating rink in the winter, a farmer's market in the summer, some really nice activities that will combine both the university and the local community. And when you want more of that city feel, again, an hour to Indianapolis, 2 hours to Chicago. So we'll talk first about academics, and then we'll move into student life and wrap up with the application process. But for those of you who are interested in research, that is something that you can jump right in and start to do from your freshman year. It's really as easy as talking to your advisor, talking to your professor. We have an Office of Undergraduate Research, and you can jump right in and we can help you find your place doing research on campus. Purdue's a big school, like I mentioned, but in a lot of ways it starts to feel much smaller, and you're not going to be siloed just in your major or in your academic college. So you can do research across the university. We have students in our College of Engineering who are doing research with the College of Science. And we have students in our College of Science who are doing research with business, and business students doing research with education, and so on. So you really can find your place in terms of research on campus. Something very unique to Purdue, we're one of the very few schools that provides this opportunity to students, is that anything you discover, you develop, you create, any of that intellectual property belongs to you. Most universities will keep it for themselves. At Purdue, we really encourage our students to take that deep dive into doing research, really expanding your horizons, being creative with the research you're doing. And again, anything that you discover is yours to take with you into graduate school or into industry. We have an honors college at the university, which is a great place for scholars who are looking to challenge themselves academically, to think outside of the box, especially those of you who might be interested more in some of the STEM related majors that we have that will take you out of the labs. The Honors College does have a separate application, 2 extra essays that you have to write, which is embedded directly into the Common App. We'll talk about the application process in a little bit, but when you get to that part, there's going to be a question that says, do you want to apply to honors? If you do, you'll check yes, and then you have 2 extra essays that you have to write. But the Honors College really prides itself on 4 pillars. That's how they've kind of framed the coursework at the Honors College, and that's again with undergraduate research, leadership development, interdisciplinary learning, and becoming a local and global citizen. There also is a housing component with honors, so it's a nice way to start building that community on campus. We do have 2 certificate programs that we like to highlight at Purdue, and certificates at Purdue operate kind of like a minor. So there are about 6 classes open to any student, no matter what your major is. The first is a certificate in entrepreneurship and innovation, and this will teach you from start to finish how to be an entrepreneur. You have an idea, what do you do with it? How do you get funding? How do you file for patents and things like that? What happens when you run out of money, nobody likes your idea, and you have to start over again? So it really is the academic piece to becoming an entrepreneur. We also have a couple of different student organizations and workspaces on campus dedicated to the pursuit of entrepreneurship. We also have a Cornerstone in Liberal Arts certificate program, again, about 6 classes open to every student. And with this, you will pick one of about 5 or 6 different tracks or themes that will have all of your classes in this Cornerstone program aligned to. So they're going to be team taught by professors from different departments across the College of Liberal Arts following that theme. And again, for students who have maybe always loved your English classes and social science classes in high school, maybe not to pursue as a major, but you want to keep those studies up, this Cornerstone program could be a great fit for you. Also in the College of Liberal Arts is a Degree Plus program. And this is a program designed for students who have their first major outside of liberal arts, who want to add a second major specifically in liberal arts. Kind of cuts out some classes and streamlines the process of adding a second major. We're seeing lots of different applications to this. So a couple examples, we have lots of students in business and the sciences who want to become better communicators. So they will add a second major in our School of Communications within liberal arts. We have a lot of students from across the colleges at Purdue who are really interested in studying abroad and potentially working abroad after graduation. So it becomes a no-brainer to add a second major in a foreign language. We're seeing a lot of computer science majors who are adding a philosophy degree to kind of get into some of that artificial intelligence. So there's lots of different ways to add this Degree Plus program to your time at Purdue. And we're seeing lots of students who, maybe you've always loved creative writing or you've always loved history, and you start taking some of those classes just as your electives, and it snowballs into adding it as a second major for Degree Plus. This is not the only way to double major at Purdue. So it is possible to double major in business and science or health and human sciences and polytech or whatever it might be. But this is specifically, again, for students who have their primary major outside of liberal arts who would then be adding a second major in liberal arts. And this isn't something that you have to apply for now or even be considering during the application process. You would add this once you're on campus. Academics at Purdue are definitely going to be challenging. They are rigorous. It is not a cutthroat atmosphere, and you're probably going to need some help along the way. So we would certainly recommend that you talk to your advisor, go to their office hours, go to your professor's office hours, take advantage of their expertise and all of their great material and history that they have working and teaching at Purdue. But we also have an academic success center. They provide tutoring services. They offer study skills workshops, time management workshops, and things like that. And then I would recommend our Purdue OWL, which is the online writing lab. They have a great website. I'm sure that some of you use their website already to check your works cited pages and things like that. You can always go to their office when you're on campus to have another set of eyes look at any of the papers or lab reports that you're turning in. And for those of you who are still working on your college application essays, I would definitely recommend that you go to the OWL website. They have a great section on writing your Common App essay. So some great tips there. We have a phenomenal career center on campus, and I know it can be a little intimidating to think about jobs and graduation from college before you've even stepped foot on our campus. But our students at Purdue definitely are very career minded. So they come to campus with a plan to look for internships and co-ops and then jobs closer to graduation. So they start working with our career center from their freshman year. You can go there and they will help you write your resume and cover letter. We'll do mock interviews with you. If you aren't sure what you want to major in or what careers you might be well suited for, they'll do some personality assessments with you and things like that. And then they also bring lots of different companies and recruiters to campus all year long to look for our students for employment. Again, we are in the Midwest, but Purdue really does have that globally recognized brand name. And our students will, come back to the East Coast or the West Coast work abroad, so you'll have lots of opportunities there. So moving now into the student life side of things at Purdue, we are a very residential campus. You do have the option of living on campus all 4 years if you would like to. We strongly recommend freshmen live on campus, and generally about 95% of our freshmen will join us in our residence halls. We have lots of different housing options, from singles and doubles and triples to suites and apartments, theme style housing. Our learning communities are really popular. They're a great way to combine your living on campus with your area of academic interest, so kind of little learning pods all over. But we really do recommend that you live on campus, especially coming from a little bit further away. It will help you to make you feel like Purdue is your home. And the food is really good, so you don't have to worry about going hungry. A couple of different meal plans to choose from. We have 5 dining halls on campus, or dining courts. Those all you can eat traditional cafeteria styles, and then lots of other dining options. We have, I don't know this year if it's the most popular, but at one point we had the busiest Starbucks in the state of Indiana in our College Union building. I don't know if this year things a little bit different, but we have a Panera on campus. We have Chick-fil-A, Jimmy John's, Jersey Mike's just opened on campus. So all of the great kind of fast food options that you're used to will be available for you. And we also have some great little robots on campus to deliver your food. So I would recommend Googling Purdue Starship robots. They're these little white robots. They look like coolers on wheels. There's an app you can put on your phone. You can actually order food through the app, and then the robots will track your GPS and deliver your food right to you. So that's been a really popular addition to our campus dining options. Lots of ways to get involved on campus, including all of our different cultural centers. So I mentioned that we have students coming from all over the world to study at Purdue, bringing all of their great cultures, and we want to celebrate them on campus. And we would certainly recommend that you participate and you visit the different cultural centers, whether or not you identify with any of the cultures represented through these different buildings on campus. But they're great ways to learn about your classmates, your professors, your roommate, learn about new cultures. They bring lots of great speakers to campus, different performers. We'll do kind of arts and crafts sessions, and lots of great food too. We do have close to just about 1,000 student organizations on campus, lots of different ways to get involved. We have lots of different more academically related clubs, musical ensembles and bands. You can see there our marching band with our world's largest drum. It's about 6.5 feet in diameter, so they have to pull it on wheels. We have community service organizations, pet puppy club. So if you are already getting homesick about having to leave your dogs and cats to go away to school, you can pet puppies during the afternoon. We have an outing club, Greek life on campus. Probably one of the most popular and revered student organizations at Purdue will be our Reamer Club. They are responsible for driving, maintaining our official mascot, which is that train right there, the Boilermaker Special. Kind of weird to have a train as a college mascot, but we love it at Purdue. It is a train built onto a truck bed, so it goes about 75 miles an hour. It's street legal. If you're ever driving around West Lafayette, don't be scared if this train pulls up next to you. And they actually drive it normally to every away football game. So it has been out to Rutgers. Purdue played Rutgers 2 years ago for our football game, and the night before the game up in New Brunswick, they actually drove the train through Times Square. So if you Google the Purdue Boilermaker Special in New York, you can see the video of them driving all around Times Square. But it's a great Purdue tradition to not only see the train, but to hear the whistle. There's a passenger bed on the back of the train as well, so they'll pick you up and take you for rides around campus. One of the more popular places on campus is our gym, the Co-Rec. It's a great place to go to let off some steam. They have great fitness classes, rock wall swimming, things like that. It's also a great place to study. So they have lots of really comfy chairs and kind of hidden corners. So if you're looking for a change of scenery from studying in the library or your residence hall, there's some good places to study here too. And if you are a high school athlete or are looking for ways to stay active, I would certainly recommend you check out all of our club and intramural sports. It's a really popular way just to try new things, try a new sport out, and they are still pretty competitive. but we're in the Big Ten for athletics, so always really proud of our student athletes, a ton of school spirit at Purdue. Big Ten athletics will start up the next couple of weeks here, so we're really excited about that. I would definitely recommend you go to as many football games and basketball games, volleyball, swimming as you can. It's a really great atmosphere for college athletics at Purdue. Mackey Arena, which is where our basketball teams play, has been voted one of the most intimidating home court advantages in college basketball by ESPN. We've broken sound records in Mackey Arena. The ceiling or the roof is just exposed metal, so sound bounces off of it and it gets really loud in there. So a really fun place to see any athletic event on campus. So now we'll move into more of the academic and application piece to Purdue. So this is what a completed application looks like when you're applying to Purdue. You can submit your entire application directly through the Common App. So the Common App is the one application that we accept for incoming first-year students. We're looking at all of your biographical information, all of your extracurriculars, that main Common App essay, your application fee, and then we have a couple Purdue-specific pieces to the Common App. You can apply directly into a first choice and second choice major right on your application. So you can apply directly into the major that you're hoping to pursue once you are at Purdue. So we're asking you to list out that first and second choice major. We ask why you're applying to Purdue, and then why you're applying to the first and second choice major. So those Purdue-specific questions become really important in our application process. We also ask that you self-report your courses and grades. So in place of having your high school send an official transcript, we ask that you list every class you've taken in high school, the grade that you've received, the courses that you're currently enrolled in for your senior year, and we're using that in place of your official transcript. So it makes it easy for you to know that you've submitted your application. We don't need to wait for your teachers or your counselors to send us any other information. You can also self-report your SAT or ACT scores directly on the Common App. This year we are test flexible, given all of the craziness in the world and with testing specifically. We are meeting students where they are in the kind of testing continuum. So if you have test scores, we would certainly like that you send those to us. If you don't have test scores or you're not comfortable testing, you haven't been able to retest, you don't have to send those scores to us. So you can choose whether or not to send those scores. Again, we're going to be flexible there. But you can self-report them, so you don't need to worry about paying for any of those score reports to come into us. If you apply to Purdue, you're ultimately admitted, and you decide to enroll with us at the university, once you graduate from high school, we'll need an official final high school transcript, and at that point, we'll need your official test scores. But we do have over 200 majors to choose from. So as you're thinking about what your first choice and second choice majors might be, you'll have lots to choose from. These are our 11 colleges and schools. I won't go through all of these, but we do have within our College of Engineering over 50 or 60 different ways to study engineering. But when you apply to Purdue's College of Engineering, you're not applying to a specific major. So for those of you who are interested in engineering, as you get to this section of the Purdue application, you would apply directly to the College of Engineering, but then our first year engineering program. So every engineering student comes in as a first year engineer. You're not going to be applying to chemical engineering or electrical or aerospace. So you want to make sure that you're applying just to that first year engineering program. Our first year engineers spend their first year in that general engineering program, learning about all of the different disciplines that we offer within engineering, and then you declare your major at the end of your freshman year to start your sophomore year. So that's a little bit different. A lot of students get tripped up when they're looking for their majors to apply to, and they'll scroll down a little bit further to get to our Polytechnic Institute. And in Polytech, we offer engineering technology degrees, which are great, but they're very different from our College of Engineering degrees. So you want to make sure that you're applying to the one that's appropriate for you. High level, very general differences between engineering and engineering technology at Purdue would be engineering is going to be much more math heavy. So you're taking much more math at a much higher level. Engineering at Purdue is going to be much more theoretical, kind of big picture theory based, whereas Polytech in the engineering technology degrees are going to be a little bit more practical and hands-on. They are both phenomenal programs. They are both ABET accredited, and you can potentially become an engineer from either route. They're just very different. So you want to make sure that you're applying to the program that's best for you. Our College of Science is where our computer science program is housed. So that's a little bit different than some other programs. We have a great nursing program in our College of Health and Human Sciences, but lots of great options, over 200 majors for you to choose from. If you only want to come to Purdue and you only want to study pharmacy, you can just apply to a first choice. So you're not required to apply to a second choice option, but that will open up some more opportunities for you to be admitted if you choose to apply to a second choice. Exploratory studies is a great place for students who are completely undecided. Maybe you have 2 or 3 majors that you're thinking about and you can't decide what's your first choice. You can spend up to 2 years in exploratory studies. The advisors are phenomenal across the university, but especially in exploratory studies, because they will help you pinpoint, what classes to take. You're not just going to be taking random classes, so that once you decide on what you want to major, you can move right in to study that. Exploratory studies is a great option too as a second choice potentially. As you're thinking about what majors might be good for you for a first choice and a second choice, there are some restrictions. So that first year engineering program, computer science, nursing, and our professional flight major can only be listed as a first choice. So those 4 programs cannot be listed as a second choice on your application. Once we get your completed application, this is really what's important to us. So first and foremost, your high school transcript, or that self-reported courses and grades section, is the most important piece. Going to high school is your full-time job right now. So we're looking not just at your GPA, but really your whole body of work. So the classes that you're taking, if you're challenging yourself with honors classes, AP classes, if your high school offers them. Not every high school offers, honors classes or AP classes. So we're really looking at you based on where you're coming from, what opportunities you've had, what you've taken advantage of. We're looking to see relevant coursework. So if you're thinking about going into any of the STEM related majors, we're probably going to pay a little bit more attention to your math and science classes in high school. We still care about math and history, we still care about English and history and things like that, but that relevant coursework becomes pretty important to us. Academic trends are really important. So ideally, you started freshman year really strong and you've steadily maintained your GPA. That's ideal, right? But we also know that sometimes you have a rocky start freshman year, and so maybe you're rebuilding your GPA. We know that the last 6 or 7 months have been kind of crazy, and so we expect that we might see a little bit of a dip or a different grading scale from last spring. So all of that will be taken into consideration as we're looking at your application. And then if you do choose to send test scores, we will use those. But whether you submit scores or not, your application will be considered holistically and equally, again, whether or not you have test scores. But everything else matters to us. So all of your extracurriculars, your essay, who you are, that personal background, recommendations are not required, but we strongly encourage that you submit those. And then the other 2 pieces that are really important in our review process would be the time of year you apply and the major that you're applying to. So some of our programs are more competitive than others, which is why having that second choice option, again, can open up some more opportunities for you to be admitted to the university. We do have an early action deadline and a regular decision deadline. We would really recommend that every student apply early to Purdue, especially for some of those more competitive programs, because the longer you wait to apply after that early action deadline, the more competitive our process will become. So to get all of these deadlines up here, our application, the Common App, goes live every August 1st. You can start submitting your FAFSA, that free application for federal student aid, on October 1st. November 1st is the early action deadline. It is also the deadline to be considered for our merit scholarships. There's no application for the merit scholarships that we award through the admissions office. Everyone is considered for those equally as long as you apply by November 1st. And then November 1st is also the deadline to apply to the Honors College, which again has that application embedded right into the Common App. If you apply early to Purdue, we'll notify you on January 15th of your admissions decision. If you decide not to apply early, January 15th is also our regular decision deadline. We give you until March 1st as that priority deadline to submit your FAFSA, and then you have until May 1st to accept your offer of admission. So early action at Purdue is not binding in any way. We give you until May to hear back from all of the other schools that you're considering before you have to accept your offer at Purdue. And then we give you an extra couple of days after May 1st to sign up for housing. This is our cost of attendance currently for this year. You can see that our tuition has been frozen for, this is now the 9th year that our tuition has been frozen. I would imagine that most of you are not Indiana residents, so probably looking at that non-resident tuition there in the middle. Tuition, room and board at just about $39,000 a year. So even though you are paying out-of-state tuition, it's probably not going to be that much more than what you would pay if you were staying at some New Jersey in-state institutions. Now, in terms of scholarships and financial aid, I would strongly recommend for every school that you're considering, go on to their admissions website, their financial aid website, and there should be a calculator that you can use to fill out all of your academic information, your family's financial information, and you'll get an estimate of what you might qualify for at that school. So I would recommend that you certainly do that at Purdue, but also the other schools that you might be considering. So again, as long as you apply by November 1st, you're considered for the merit scholarships that we award through the admissions office. Some of our academic colleges and schools have additional scholarships that you can apply for, and the deadline to submit those applications is December 15th. Again, you want to make sure that you're filling out your FAFSA by March 1st, and then we're able to send out your financial aid award package sometime in usually early to mid-March. So that was Purdue in a quick nutshell. This is all of our contact information, the main admissions email and phone number. My email address is there. If you have any questions during the application process, certainly feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. We don't offer interviews for the application process at Purdue, but I'm always happy to meet with students individually or meet with you virtually now. So if you have a lot of questions and you would find that helpful, definitely reach out and we can set something up. If you are not on our mailing list already and you would like to be, I would definitely recommend that you go to the admissions website to request information there. We don't track demonstrated interest during the application process, so I'm thrilled that you're spending a little bit of time with me this evening, but filling out that form again isn't going to get you bonus points in the application process. But again, if you're not getting any information from us, certainly fill out that form. And we have lots of great virtual options to learn a little bit more about Purdue, so you can check those out on the admissions website. And all of our academic colleges have great virtual visit options as well. And all of those are listed from the admissions website. We are starting to very slowly at a small scale offer in-person visit options. In the next week or so, we're going to start offering in-person on-campus tours, keeping them really small with social distancing and everything in mind. But all of those visit options will be available on our website. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now to see, hopefully we have some questions to answer. So let's see. So the first question is housing guaranteed all 4 years? So housing is not guaranteed at Purdue all 4 years. You have to apply for housing each year. But generally, as long as you apply for housing by the posted deadline, we can provide on-campus housing for you. So not technically guaranteed, but generally we're able to accommodate students who want to live on campus. See if other questions come in. The learning communities that I mentioned briefly are really popular, and I would definitely recommend that you consider those. There's generally about 75 or so to choose from across all of our different academic colleges. So some of them will be very major specific, like a future education learning community or a women in STEM learning community, different things like that. And some of them will be a little bit broader, but you will basically be living together in one of our residence halls, taking a couple of your classes together. And there's usually a faculty advisor, maybe an upper class student assigned to the learning community. So it's a nice way to build that community both with your academics and your housing together. The next question is our BFA in industrial design. We have a couple of different design programs. Most of them are offered through our College of Liberal Arts. Some of our programs, our BFA programs, also have a portfolio that's required. They're a little bit different. Some of our programs require the portfolio during the application process. Some of them need the portfolio once you're already on campus, but all of that information should be on our website. The next question is, if you apply to the Honors College and don't get accepted, will you still be considered for admission at Purdue? Yes, because our review process is actually flip-flopped. So when you apply to Purdue, we will consider you for admission through our process in the admissions office. If we admit you from the admissions office and you've applied to the Honors College, then we pass your application on to Honors and they do a separate review. So you will first be admitted to the university and then to Honors. Generally, if you apply early, we'll notify you on January 15th of your admissions decision. That generally will just be your admissions decision to the university, to the major that you applied for, and then you'll receive your Honors College admissions decision sometime in late January, early February. The next question is, what different scholarships are available? So the scholarships that we offer through the admissions office, again, you have to apply by November 1st to be considered for those, will range from about $10,000 to $16,000 a year for out-of-state students. Our scholarships are pretty competitive. Only about 10 to 15% of admitted students receive a scholarship at Purdue. But then depending on the college and the major that you're considering, there might be additional scholarships that you can apply for, and those will have that December 15th deadline. Give it another minute to see if any other questions come in. If I decide to double major, do I have to indicate that on your application? No. So if you decide to double major, that's something that you can decide and add once you're on campus. You certainly can talk about that on your application if it makes sense. So maybe in that why Purdue or the why major answers that you're writing, but you will just be admitted to one major on your application, and then you can add a second major once you're on campus. How are our PA programs? Do we have one? So we have a lot of different pre-professional programs at Purdue. So pre-med, pre-dental, pre-law, pre-vet, pre-PA. So all of the pre-professional programs are really just advising or academic tracks that you would add on to your major. So they're making sure that you have all of the prerequisites that you might need to go on to graduate school. And then another question about our co-ops. So our co-ops are really popular at Purdue, specifically in engineering, some more in computer science. The co-ops you generally will choose from doing a 3-semester or a 5-semester co-op. For a co-op, you are working full-time, so you're usually not taking classes during those 3 or 5 semesters, so it usually takes you a little bit longer to graduate from Purdue. We also have a 1-semester co-op that gives you a little bit more flexibility, but most of our students will choose either the 3 or 5 semester co-op because you're getting up to a year and a half of great work experience. We have students who co-op close to campus because they still want to be connected with their friends. We have students who will choose to co-op maybe closer to home to save with some of those living expenses, but you can co-op in California or Texas. So they're really strong. The Office of Pre-Professional Practice within the College of Engineering has some great connections to help you find the co-op that would be appropriate. So another question came in about co-ops of, do you still pay tuition during the co-op program? No, you pay a general student fee, which is maybe $100 or so just to stay enrolled at the university. So you're not paying tuition. It's just that one fee there. So you're not paying tuition during those couple of semesters. And the next question is about business majors. What's maybe the most popular business majors? What I'm thinking that question is. So our Krannert School of Management has lots of different business majors, from more of a general management to finance and economics. So there are lots of different programs to choose from within business. So we have about 4 or 5 minutes left. We'll give it another minute to see if any questions come in. What's the difference between computer science and the College of Engineering, College of Science, and Polytech? So our computer science major is only offered through the College of Science. That is where the computer science program is housed at Purdue. We have computer engineering through our College of Engineering. We have computer engineering technology through our Polytechnic, and Polytech also has some other computer science related programs, cybersecurity. We have computer information and technology offered through Polytech as well. So they're all very different, focusing on different types of computer science. So you would really need to decide what you're looking for, what program would be the best for you, and what you're thinking about career-wise to see what would make the most sense. Within the College of Science and our computer science program, there are a couple of different tracks that you can follow within CS to get a little bit more specific. We also have a data science major, which is housed through the College of Science. We have a math with computer science focus within the College of Science as well. So there's a couple options probably in each of those colleges, depending on what your main interest is. So those are all of our questions. I want to thank you all for joining me this evening to learn a little bit more about Purdue. I hope you all, again, are enjoying the beautiful fall weather, getting hopefully to be outside a little bit so you're not spending so much time on the computer. When you have that free time, get out. Otherwise, thanks for joining us and have a great night.
Okay, thank you so much, Sarah. This was great. And thank you to all the students for your participation. When you close out, you will be getting access to a quick survey. It's 4 questions. Please make sure that you complete that so that way we can get your feedback, which is really important to us. And again, we encourage you to sign up for some more sessions. We have sessions going through tonight and tomorrow. And finally, we will be having recordings of all of the sessions from last week and this week will be made available on the NJACAC website. Thank you, everyone. Have a safe evening and good luck with your process. Good night, everyone.
Bye.